Equality is something we shouldn't fight for. I know that sounds crazy, but stay with me. It's impossible to fight for equality when your population is diverse because not every resource, custom, infrastructure, and physical requirement in life will be built specifically for you. This is why we need equity. For those who don't know, equity fights to provide people with the specific resources they need to reach the same outcome. It acknowledges our different circumstances. On the other hand, though, equality gives everyone the same resources, assuming everyone starts from the same place and faces the same challenges. Chasing equality forces you to ignore the small things that make us different, and by definition, this exhibits a lack of empathy. I would argue that in order to have more equity, we must deny ourselves and think more about others. Being selfless is the only way to ensure peace and our survival as a species. So if you can purposefully acknowledge that people are different and still not support them having equity the same way that you should, then you failed as not just a human, but as a thinking organism. Being able to profit at the expense of someone else is something that should never be tolerated. Because as humans, we're capable of greater wisdom and understanding than every other organism. Yet some of us still want to reduce ourselves down to a basic ass ideology like social Darwinism. Some people use this survival of the fittest type of animal behavior as an excuse to never put themselves in the shoes of those they view as beneath them. Since the early 1500s, people have been applying these ideologies to claim genetic superiority, and later, eugenics mixed with this racial ideology became one of many beliefs that were used to erase equity. The truth is, though, if groups like Nazi Germany and white supremacists in the US were able to successfully isolate themselves from everyone else and didn't migrate to different countries, then over the next hundreds of thousands to millions of years, they would have eventually evolved into a whole different species that's not even human. So here's something you can tell people who still have this broken mindset. Because the funniest part of all this is that as a species, we Homo sapiens share 99.9% of our DNA. Let that sink in. For thousands of years, we've waged wars, oppressed, mutilated, enslaved, and killed each other over a 0.01% difference in our genes. How stupid does that sound? Out of the multiple other human species like Homo erectus and Neanderthals, we ended up surviving. One of the main reasons why is that we had larger, more diverse groups and faster cultural innovation. So all I'm saying is that if we can first learn to build equity and fight for justice when it comes to race, then we'll be able to start this trickle-down effect that would allow us to do the same thing when it comes to class, nationality, religion, sex, gender, disability, and any other systemic inequity. Don't get me wrong, we made a lot of progress towards equity. Yet, in these past few decades, I noticed that we've been slowly losing touch with the 99.9% that we have in common and started hyper-focusing on killing each other over the 0.01% of our differences. We need to focus more on accommodating to our differences and righting our wrongs because that's what it means to be human. And if you disagree, then you're fighting to become something that isn't human.